This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
It's that time of year again. Spring drills and fall camps have passed. And with a new season, new hope and new opportunities have arrived. Tonight, from the heart of the Midwest, Bowling Green and Tulsa open the 2013 season. The wait is over. College football is back. Welcome to ESPNU College Football Primetime. It's the opening day of a season that'll feature more than 450 games on the ESPN networks. And it brings us to Dwight Perry Stadium, where Tulsa will take on Bowling Green. Now we say welcome inside our broadcast booth with two-time Super Bowl champ David Diaz-Infante, Joe Davis. Tulsa matched a school record with 11 wins last year. Bowling Green, its best season in 5 years. So both with high expectations going into this year. Tulsa, though, a big knock on Tuesday. DeMarco Nelson, their senior safety, declared academically ineligible.
Well, it's a huge loss for Tulsa on a defense that was returning only 3 starters anyways. They're going against a Bowling Green defense. They use a variation of formations and deceptive plays. So formation recognition and great vision and discipline in the back end is critical in this game today.
So I think it's safe to say defense a concern for Tulsa. The offense, though, that's not the case. They returned the top 2 running backs from one of the top ground games last season.
Yeah, even more of a burden placed on this offense here today. Jatarian Douglas, he is all about speed, explosive plays, and I tell you, he's got the ability to score anytime he touches the ball. Trey Watts, he's multi-talented. He's a solid running back. He'll line up in the slot. He's dynamic on special teams. One of the best 1-2 punches in college football. Strength
against strength when they're on the field against this Bowling Green defense.
Yeah, Bowling Green's defense, the strength of their football team. It is best versus best. They're led by Boo Boo Gates and Gabe Martin. They make it happen on that side of the ball in their pressure packages.
Well, Bowling Green won the toss and deferred, so Tulsa will receive to begin this game. That's Trey Watts waiting deep. And 2 teams with high expectations meeting to kick off this 2013 season. Anthony Farinella, sophomore out of Woodbridge, Illinois, to send it away. Watts, 3 return touchdowns in his career. Waiting back. And away we go with the 2013 season from Bowling Green. This is Watts from the 1. And Tulsa will begin at the 22-yard line. The preseason favorite to repeat as Conference USA champs. Gunning for its 5th 10-win season in the last 7 years. And led by a senior quarterback in Cody Green, as Derek Alexander was hurt on that opening special teams play.
Already right out of the gates, high-speed collisions on those special teams. Again, Tulsa's a team that can't afford many injuries, as most teams can't. It's hard to see that on the first play from scrimmage, your first game of the season.
This is already a group in the defensive line for Tulsa with not a lot of experience.
Yeah, and they're counting on Derek Alexander to be that force off the edge. He's an athlete, explosive. Hard to see how it happened. Hopefully he's all right.
And we talked about the defense for Tulsa a little bit during the open there. They've already got to replace 8 starters. And then you add into the equation DeMarco Nelson won't play. Alexander, one of the guys they were counting on that D-line. So now Cody Green, the senior from Dayton, Texas, who transferred in from Nebraska, now in his 2nd season as the starter, and they expect big improvements in year 2 at Tulsa.
Well, we're talking about the burden placed on this offense early on. In the opener, we'll see how they respond.
He'll start with a throw for Kieris Garrett. He's cut down after a gain of a couple by Aaron Foster. And Garrett, one of our impact players for for Tulsa.
Yeah, Kieris Garrett is a guy at 6'4". That's a matchup nightmare. He's big, he's fast, he's physical, but he's going up against Cameron Truss, their best cover guy for Bowling Green. He's a 4-year starter on that side of the football.
A little bit of space, close quickly on 2nd down. And Paul Swan there to stop Jatarian Douglas, setting up third and about 6.
Well, this is exactly what Bowling Green's trying to do. Obviously, one of the top defenses in the country, but they believe in pressuring on first and second down to get teams behind the sticks. That way they can send in their pressure packages.
His Bowling Green defense last year was top 5 in the country. Green will heave one over the head of Douglas, and a 3-and-out forced by this Bowling Green defense to begin.
And that was Gabe Martin coming in on the pressure unblocked, forcing the quick throw by Cody Green. And that's exactly the formula that Bowling Green uses. All right, they're going to pressure, zone blitz you on first and second down. Third down, they're going to turn up the man pressure and attack you, force you to make quick decisions.
You saw Bill Blankenship starting his 3rd season, sending Cole Way, a 6'8" punter, out to send it away for Tulsa. Ryan Burbrink back to receive it. And the sophomore will signal for a fair catch and take it at the 31. It's a punt of 40 yards. That's where Bowling Green will begin its first possession. And they'll do it with a senior quarterback as well, in Matt Schiltz. Now Schiltz entering his 4th year as the starter, 3rd in school history in passing yards, but he had to battle to keep his job. Wasn't named the starter for game 1 until midway through last week.
The real question mark they had on him was his pocket presence. Can he hold up? Can he be consistent and throw accurately under pressure?
He'll start out of the gun and give it to converted receiver Travis Green. And Green with a solid first down pickup to the 38. Or it'll be 2nd down and 6. Green, one of Bowling Green's impact players on offense.
Well, Travis Green was moved over to the running back position again for depth, but he turned out to be their starter. Gives them big playability on the offensive side of the ball. And Derek Alexander and Sean Jackson, it's their job to put a helmet on him on that defensive side of the ball for Tulsa. Alex Baer, the tight end, NFL prospect, a guy they use in a variety of ways.
Alexander, the guy we saw go down in the opening kickoff. So in for him is Brenham Todd on that inexperienced Tulsa defensive line. 2 plays and 2 carries for Green, who spins his way close to a first down. Making his first start at running back and replacing his former high school teammate in Anton Samuel, who transferred to FIU. But a guy that moved from receiver, was 3rd in the depth chart entering the fall, and just continued to climb until a couple of weeks ago found himself at the top of that chart.
Well, Bowling Green last year only averaged a little over 22 points a game. They're looking for explosive playmakers. They gave him an added dimension at the running back position.
The flag flies. Interior of that defensive line for Tulsa a bit antsy. And Stan Evans, our head referee, lets us know with the first of what are likely a few of those today. Typical sign on an opener.
Yeah, that always is. First game jitters, working on timing, live bodies across from you that are guessing the snap count, coming after you.
So 1st down and 5 for this Bowling Green offense on its opening possession. Schiltz under pressure, gets rid of it just in time, with Brenton Todd coming from the backside, beating the left tackle Jacob Bennett, one of 2 freshmen starting to tackle for Bowling Green today.
Yeah, so you'll see it at the top of your screen. That freshman's going to be tested all night long. You see just a dip and rip. He's able to turn the corner, Brenton Todd is, and come around that corner and put pressure on a quarterback in Schiltz that's already been a little bit light in the feet. Good job of getting rid of the football, though, and avoiding the sack.
On 2nd down and 5. Schiltz off a 3-step. Underneath finds Burbrink for a first down to the 42. Ryan Burbrink, a former walk-on, has the first reception from Schiltz in 2013. There's Dave Clausen, head coach for this Bowling Green program in his 5th season now, and has turned this thing around, increasing the win total by 3 each of the last 2 seasons, one of just 4 programs nationally to do so. Under center for the first time, and they bring tight end Tyler Beck in to play fullback. Schiltz under pressure once again. It throws to the feet of Sean Joplin. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Well, this Tulsa defense was one of the top in Conference USA a season ago, but having to replace 8 starters, and then you throw in the fact that DeMarco Nelson in the back end can't play. You get Derek Alexander hurt on the opening kickoff. No doubt a question mark. Well,
obviously a challenge for Brent Guy on the defensive side of the ball. We'll see how aggressive he decides to be in his play calling with those young guys in the back half of that defense.
From the 41, Green on the delayed handoff, showing good elusiveness in his first series as a running back. Gain of 5, stop made by Trent Martin. It'll be 3rd down and 5. So Nelson out, Bradley White is in, a sophomore walk-on. Played in all 13 games on special teams last year, but an important position on this defense.
Yeah, absolutely. They run things back in the back end, trying to get the coverages, the formation recognition right, make sure guys are lined up.
Tulsa showing pressure on 3rd down and 5, and they bring it. Green stepped out of an arm tackle, but then pulled down by Chris Hummingbird. It's a loss of 5, and it's 4th down for Bowling Green.
You'll see the pressure coming from this left side over here. Again, defense coordinator Brent Guy coming after it, bringing pressure right up the middle. A great job by Sean Jackson of shedding the block of the offensive lineman and getting to the running back.
So Brian Schmidtbush will punt it away to Trey Watts. Schmidtbush, a guy that had a great sophomore season 2 years ago, really struggled as a junior. And Watts will let it sail over his head. Boo Boo Gates swatting it back, and it's deflected to Gabe Martin, but entered the end zone and a touchback. So Tulsa's second possession will begin at the 20. Season opener here in Bowling Green between a couple of teams with high expectations. Each team with a possession and no score in the season opener from Bowling Green, Ohio. Got plenty of good stuff planned for you over the course of the night. As we take a look at what's on tap for our broadcast. Tulsa with a new ambassador for its athletic program and its university. We'll dive into some of the details there. And Cody Green, not just a quarterback, an avid fisherman as well. Some of those details coming later in the broadcast. How about this giant statue of a falcon? We'll tell you why we're talking about that in just a while as well. And then finally, DDI will guide you through these weekend's biggest games on the opening weekend of college football. Cody Green back to the field. 1 for 2 on that opening possession, but a 3-and-out for the Golden Hurricane. From the 20, looking to throw the swing, and he's got Trey Watts, who gets the corner with a flag down as Watts reaches the 30-yard line. Kieris Garrett was locked up with Aaron Foster. That's where the penalty flag came in.
Holding. Offense number 10. Offense number 1. 10 yards. Replay first down.
So that is on Kieris Garrett and wipes away what would have been a first down gain. Garrett, the leading receiver on this team, second team all-conference performer. Good size out there, 6'4", 210, but unable to lock up Aaron Foster without the flag. So on first down and 14, they go to the zone read and it's shut down. Trying to go to the middle, but the defense there led by Brian Thomas. His first stop of the season, and it's second down and long.
Well, that's a guy in Brian Thomas. He's one of the strongest players on this football team. They need him to play stout at the point of attack. Great discipline with the eyes. Great physical presence on that defensive end position.
And an injury on this second down play. Looks like it's Charlie Walker, redshirt junior defensive end out of Sterling Heights, Michigan. A lot of times in these openers you see players deal with cramps, especially when it's as warm as it is down on the turf. I know you spent a few minutes down there, about an hour before kick, came up here a little sweatier than when you went down.
Oh, that's right, a little warm out there, and that's why taking in your fluids is so important.
This Bowling Green defense is deep. So with Walker going out, still plenty of depth behind him.
Stepped kind of funny on off one of his feet there.
Watts motions out on second down and 14, and the throw sails over the head of Derek Patterson. It was defended well by Jude Barima. It's 3rd and 14.
You know, one of the things the coach has talked about Cody Green was his mechanics, improvement on him to help improve his accuracy. Right there you see a little rushing of the throw right there. Had Derek Patterson open, little hitch route.
On 3rd down and 14, they give it to Douglas, who steps out of a tackle and gets 7, but Bowling Green forces yet another 3-and-out. DJ Lynch with the stop. Douglas's second carry of the evening. And so far, strength against strength, it's Bowling Green's defense getting the better end.
Yeah, we knew what this battle was going to be like. Bowling Green, they want to show they can play against some of the best offenses in the country as well. And Tulsa certainly provides that challenge for them.
Second punt for Colway. At a punt of 40 yards his first time. And Ryan Burbrink waits deep. Bowling Green will set up a return. And Burbrink up to make the fair catch at the 44. 33-yard punt. Bowling Green back on offense when we come back.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And Buffalo Wild Wings, the official hangout for NCAA football.
Bowling Green State University, founded back in 1910 as a teacher's college. The students pouring in here to Doak Perry Stadium for the season opener in Tulsa, and Bowling Green scoreless. Second possession for Bowling Green begins with a whistle. They moved the ball into Tulsa territory their first time before the drive stalled, and they punted it away.
Please set the play clock or the game clock at 9:09. 9:09.
It's a Bowling Green offense that ranked near the bottom of FBS in several categories last year. They're hoping that this group, 1 year more experience, a lot of the guys back, and that a more aggressive style can lead to some more success. That'll all start with the quarterback, Matt Schultz. Works out of an empty set on first down from the 44. Green motions into the backfield, has a seam on first down before he stood up after a gain of 4 or 5. Bradley White up from the safety spot to make the stop. It'll be second down. So they were 10th in the MAC. 92nd nationally in points per game, and a lot of that was the philosophy. They'd score as quickly as they could, try to get a lead for that stout defense, and then run the ball.
Well, they really played to their strengths and their personnel. They knew the strength of their football team was on defense. They knew on offense they were looking for an identity, and running the football became their hallmark on that side of the football.
Under center for 2nd and 5. Green downhill gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage. That was Mitchell Osborne, a converted safety, who plugged the hole, and it'll be 3rd down for Bowling Green.
There's that Tulsa defense. Great call by Brent Guy. You'll see Mitchell Osborne, number 32, again, fill this gap right there. Play with the right leverage. I love to see it. Chris Hummingbird on the edge, setting the edge, giving him a one-way go, and there's this outside linebacker, again, to fill the gap.
So 3rd down and 6 for Bowling Green. 4-man rush. Schultz has time. Steps into his throw, but it's wide of Joplin, and it's 4th down. So 2 possessions and 2 punts for Matt Schultz and the Falcons. Dobbins with the defense on Joplin.
Good protection by the offensive line, giving Schultz plenty of time to throw the football. He's resetting his feet, trying to climb the pocket. He's just got to settle down and find the open receiver.
Schmidbush, a punt of 41 yards his first time. Averaged 45 yards a punt as a sophomore. That was down to 41 yards a punt last year. Those numbers weren't bad. He was still 2nd team All-MAC, but they're hoping for a repeat of that sophomore season. Trey Watts running to the near side and getting blasted down at the 15. As Jordan Hopgood on special teams with a stop. And Tulsa will have the ball when we come back. We'll take a look at the flight of the Falcon. Very important piece of this Bowling Green campus and how it got here when we come back. Well, this Falcons statue was put in place here at Bowling Green back in 2010 at the new Stroh Center. It was donated to the school and then transported some 2,200 miles from Sacramento, California, and put in place just a few years ago. The truck driver, Bob Ward, who's been driving a truck for 25 years, said he'd never transported anything like it.
That thing is awesome.
And the shadow of that Falcon statue just down the road from here at Doy Perry Stadium. We're midway through this opening quarter. It's been defined by the defenses as Tulsa begins its third possession, looking for its first down. And Green off play action will float one for James, but over his head, and second down and 10. Will Watson in coverage, sophomore out of Tampa, seeing time in the secondary in this first quarter. And Green still trying to find that rhythm.
Yeah, they are, and you got to give credit to Bowling Green's defense. They're matching up outside those big wide receivers of Tulsa.
On second down and 10, Douglas into the backfield, going to the short side, and no room. Flowing from the linebacker spot was solid help for Ronnie Goebel, the defensive end, to make the stop. And it'll be third down for this Bowling Green defense that was one of the top 10 in the country a season ago.
You'll see the defense of Bowling Green penetrate the line of scrimmage, and Ronnie Goebel doing a great job of playing the quarterback, reading the mesh point of the quarterback and the running back, keeping his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage and making the play.
Reset the play clock with this third down and 9 play. No Blankenship, former Tulsa quarterback himself back in the late 70s. Third season as head coach in the same town that he was a high school coach. Won 3 state titles at Tulsa Union as part of his 23-year high school coaching career before coming into the program as an assistant under Todd Graham and then taking over a few seasons ago.
Well, all the guy does is win football games.
Yeah.
High school, college, doesn't matter. He's a teacher.
19-8 over his first 2 seasons at the helm of this program.
Please set the play clock at 25 seconds. Set the game clock at 7:07. Start the play clock on the ready for play signal. Thank you.
He's kind of getting angry. Early season for the clock operators as well. And finally, we're ready for this third down and 9 play. Pressure comes. It's picked up. Too tall for Garrett, who heard footsteps from Gates. And it's 3 3-and-outs for this Tulsa offense that's loaded with playmakers.
Cody Green knows that Bowling Green is bringing pressure on third down. They bring it right up the middle, in his face. One-on-one coverage downfield for the wide receiver, Garrett. And it's Will Watson there to defend it with safety help over the top.
Ryan Burbrink with his first chance to return one from the 41. And the sophomore gets pile driven down to the 41. Stop made by Craig Suits and Lynn Scott. And on Friday, Florida Atlantic takes on Miami as part of Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week. 8 o'clock Eastern in that ball game, and a Howard Schnellenberger Bowl, if you will. Of course, guided Miami to its first national title in the early 80s and then launched that Florida Atlantic program from scratch, and he'll be an honorary captain for both of those teams tomorrow night. Both offenses trying to find some rhythm. And Matt Johnson is checked in at quarterback. Pulls the ball, tosses on the bubble to freshman Ronnie Moore. And Moore, the fastest player on this team, bolts down the sideline to the 38. 18 yards on his first touch in a Bowling Green uniform.
The one dimension that Matt Johnson gives you at the quarterback position is his athletic ability. You see him right there. He's going to take the snap. He's going to use his athleticism to move the pocket and throw the ball on the run. It's a run-pass option, and he gets it to the speedster more.
Again, there was a quarterback competition during camp, even though Matt Schultz had started each of the last 3 years. Johnson looking to throw, almost intercepted as Trent Martin stepped in front of it on a pass defended or intended for Alex Bayer. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Clean pocket, good coverage by Tulsa.
So Matt Johnson, a redshirt sophomore out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And the staff said that his talent is the biggest reason that job opened up. Of course, Schultz didn't have the best junior season, but Matt Johnson forced them to turn it into a competition. Off his back foot finds Bayer, who runs for a first down to the 26. Alex Bayer, 4-year starter at tight end with serious NFL potential.
When you see the delivery of Matt Johnson, he alters the delivery and just flicks it to his tight end who's going to be open. You see him sit there, reset his feet, throw it off his back foot, still accurate, throws away from the defender and right to Alex Bayer. Looks a little calmer in the pocket right there.
Green flips sides and takes it downhill. Excellent job by the interior of that offensive line, which they feel really good about. 3 returning starters at guard, center, guard for Bowling Green, ran right behind them there.
And I really think that that's what Bowling Green has to do early on, is establish that running game. Look, they're strong inside at center and both guards. The tackles are young, but they're pretty big physical guys. And if you want to get them going, the best way to do is with the running game. Then mix in your play action and some of your deceptive plays.
And a flag down.
False start offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. The down remains 2nd down.
That's Alex Bayer, the tight end, so that moves it right back to where the set it down and start.
Bayer right here in the corner of your screen. He's going to jump. He's going to act like he's just going to reset. Problem is he went forward.
First Bowling Green penalty. Makes it 2nd down and 10. Johnson looking to throw. This is what he brings to the offense. The ability to improvise and get 4 yards on a play that didn't look very good from the start. Sean Jackson, one of the top linebackers in Conference USA, picked up the tackle.
One thing that coaches talked about Matt Johnson was his athletic ability. You see him go through his progression. He's not rushing. Then he makes a quick decision to run with the football and pick up positive yards.
Gave him 5 yards, so it'll be 3rd down and 5. But Chris Hummingbird, the other defensive end, is now down injured. Derek Alexander, defensive end opposite him, was injured on the opening kickoff. This is a defensive line for Tulsa that has to replace all 4 starters. The 4 starters they had tonight combined for 0 starts in their career.
Right, and Derek Alexander is the only one that had any kind of significant playing time on 3rd down. Chris Hummingbird's a converted linebacker that struggled in space and really felt like playing closer to the line of scrimmage was a good move for him. Again, they're counting on those 2 guys to be leaders up front. This defense right now, remember, was only returning 3 starters. DeMarco Nelson out because of academic suspension. Boy, they have a lot of young guys on the field right now, and it's up to Bowling Green to try and take advantage of that lack of depth and lack of experience.
This is one thing Tulsa really couldn't afford. Look at the difference in career starts between an experienced Bowling Green group and Tulsa. 34 of those starts come from one guy, Sean Jackson. The other 10 starters combined for 12 career starts.
It's a lot of young guys around Sean Jackson, and he's got to step up and become that leader. And Brent Guy knows it, their defensive coordinator. He's trying to structure his calls, keep things simple enough where the young guys can play fast, but they've also got to find a way to take chances.
See if Tulsa brings pressure against the young quarterback on 3rd down and 5. Johnson looking to throw. Right through the hands of the normally sure-handed Bayer, but there is a flag down. And Johnson may have drawn Tulsa offside. So in effect, that would have been a free play for Johnson.
Offside defense, number 97. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
So that moves the chains for Bowling Green as Brenham Todd hopped off sides.
You'll see him top of the screen right there. One of those young guys filling in on that defensive line. Brenton Todd, he's a junior, but not a lot of playing experience. And you'll see right there, Brent Guy talked about when and how he will pressure. On third down, he goes, we've got to do it, but we're going to play man-to-man. I'm worried about playing zone against Bowling Green and all the things they do offensively.
From the 16, drop it off for Travis Green, who gets planted. Boy, got lifted off his feet and dropped down. Sean Jackson leading the way, the senior out of Tulsa McLean High School, who's in the best shape of his life coming into this season.
Yeah, Sean Jackson is a stud. He used to weigh 270. He's down to 255. You'll see him dip, lower his hips, wrap the legs. I like that. That's how you fill a hole, linebacker.
It's a form tackle right there, and a season where that's emphasized. No gain, second down and 10. Johnson looking short side, went for Bayer again, and another drop from the senior tight end. Now, Bowling Green trying to change its fortunes in the red zone. Last year, they were the second worst team in the country in red zone efficiency at just 66%. And a tough test going against a defense that last year was 4th nationally with a red zone D, but a different group.
A totally different group, that's right. And Sean Jackson is doing his best right now to step up for his young comrades on that side of the ball, making plays in the run game and defending that last pass.
Third down and 9. Johnson throwing the fade. Gallon in the corner couldn't get there. Was solid defense coming from the redshirt freshman Darnell Walker Jr. and it's 4th down.
Well, that's what Brent Guy wanted to do, is pressure on third down, place a man underneath and into the boundary. And that's right there, Darnell Walker doing a nice job of playing man-to-man coverage.
Tyler Tate to attempt a 34-yard field goal. A redshirt sophomore out of Carroll, Ohio, who was 7 of 10 last year. And from 34 yards as Bowling Green on the board late in the first. It's been a long time since Bowling Green has had a consistent kicker. They think Tyler Tate finally gives them that. Matt Schultz didn't give him much in his 2 drives. He averaged less than 3 yards a play. And then Matt Johnson came into the game, drove him down the field, and got them their first points. So now Dave Clausen's defense will go back onto the field. The defense that was top 10 in the country in most categories last year. This coming from Mike Elko, the defensive coordinator. There were times last year where we looked great, and there were times where we didn't look as good against Virginia Tech and Florida and so on. The challenge this year, said Elko, is to be good all the time, even against the best offenses. Tonight, a great challenge against Tulsa, which was one of the top ground games in the country last year. Remarkable numbers to back up that point that Elko made. And again, this was one of the nation's best defenses, but they were at their best by far against the weaker teams. Against bowl teams, they gave up 28 points per contest. Against non-bowl teams, about 7.5.
Well, that alludes directly to his point. And so far, they're answering the call of his challenge against a very talented Tulsa offense.
Farinella kicks it away to Trey Watts, drifting into his end zone, and Tulsa will begin at the 25-yard line. So Cody Green ready to bring this offense back out, trying to get a first down. Coming into this game, I think everybody figured that Tulsa's offense would be its strength, and it still will, but a sloppy start.
Well, season openers, too. Even though they talked about how quickly their offense got back and synced in spring ball and through fall camp, first game's the first game. It's a whole new feel. And right now they're having a hard time establishing any kind of rhythm. But you have to give credit to Bowling Green's defense and what they're doing, the attacking style of defense they play.
Go under center, their work out of the eye. Every play for this Golden Hurricane offense in this first quarter has come inside its own 30. And that's a delay of game on the first play of the possession.
That's not how you get your offense back in rhythm.
Prior to the fourth penalty on Bill Blankenship's squad. So this drive begins with 1st and 15. For the Nebraska transfer, Cody Green off a 3-step as Kieris Garrett, who breaks a tackle and steps on the sideline near the 30, beating Cameron Truss for a pickup of about 10. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
A nice job of Cody Green of taking what the defense gives you, playing soft coverage back into the boundary against Kieris Garrett. Make the quick throw, let that big body break a tackle and pick up some yards.
Second down, another throw, floating it for the 6'4" Garrett. Over to knock it away is Isaiah Barime, who's playing some solid defense in a backup safety role for Bowling Green. It's 3rd down.
That's what a center fielder's supposed to do. He's going to see the eyes of the quarterback. He knows he's throwing the fade, and then watch him come up and make the play. Number 14, Ajay Barima.
Had 4 interceptions to lead the club last year, mainly as the nickelback for Bowling Green.
That's some serious vertical he had right there, too.
Ajay Barima. 3rd down and 5. Douglas stutter stepping and falling close to the 1st down. The spot gives him Tulsa's first down of the night.
Boy, that's something their offense needed drastically. Find some sort of rhythm, get something going, and now the tempo.
And back to Douglas. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Gabe Martin, Ronnie Goebel combining the stop. Tulsa continues to work quickly. Douglas probing for space, but not much. Goebel again. Martin again helped clean it up. And 3rd down and 5 for Tulsa.
We talked about Douglas' ability as a running back and needing to prove his vision. You're going to see right here, if you freeze it, there was a lane right there for him to run through.
On 3rd down and 5. Green throwing the fade. James comes back and gets it. And Jordan James is inside the 25. A 6'2" senior out of Norco, Louisiana, who goes over 1,000 yards for his career with a gain of 37.
And you'll see Cody Green is going to be matched up. And he knows his wide receiver, Jordan James, is one-on-one. Throws the high ball to him. He high points it, makes the catch. Big play, shot play. Aggressive throw by Cody Green.
First play in Bowling Green territory for Tulsa. Green with a keeper. And the big guy, 6'4", 245, who runs, says Mike Elko, defensive coordinator for Bowling Green, just enough to scare you.
Well, that's an aspect of this offense that he was really concerned about. His ability to run the read option, the power quarterback read, because he's a big physical guy that knows how to go for yards.
On 2nd and 8 off play action into the end zone and too tall for James, who is again defended by Will Watson. And 3rd down and 8 coming up for the Golden Hurricane.
I like the thought process, a little play action, taking a shot in the end zone, but that's where Cody Green, they talked about working on his mechanics. That one just goes a little high and hot for him.
Tulsa has converted back-to-back 3rd downs on this drive. And we'll take a timeout to think about this one. First timeout used by Bill Blankenship. Well, Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week continues Saturday night on ESPN at 5:30. #1 ranked Alabama takes on Virginia Tech in the Georgia Dome as part of the 2013 Chick-fil-A kickoff game. And then it'll be LSU and TCU, #12 against #20. That's at 9 o'clock. The 2013 Cowboys Classic. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels. Both games also live on the Watch ESPN app. Alabama trying to join Army from the 1940s, Minnesota from the 1930s. The only programs to three-peat in college football.
Yeah, they're got a challenge ahead of them, but boy, they are well built for that challenge with the depth they have, how they recruited, and obviously Nick Saban.
On 3rd down and 8 against a 3-man rush. Green still throwing off his back foot. Excellent coverage by Gabe Martin, who is defending Jatarian Douglas, working out of the backfield. And it's 4th down. Well, Martin does a lot of stuff well.
Yeah, Gabe Martin, one of the few linebackers they trust in coverage. And he is man for man up the sidelines. Cody Green took the shot because Martin's back was turned to the quarterback. Got to throw that one on the back shoulder and make sure receiver stays in bounds.
So Carl Salazar, a senior, kicking in the college game for the first time from 37. Pushes it. He's at his 3rd different school. Started out at Air Force, then transferred to Oklahoma just as a student before coming to Tulsa, and misses his first collegiate attempt.
Take a look at the timing. Snap there, hold down. Ball's good. Boy, it looks like he hit a little turf there. Took a little bigger divot than you expect. Push that one right.
And if you're Tulsa, when you have chances against this Bowling Green defense, you got to be able to cash in.
Absolutely. You did the job. You converted some critical 3rd downs. You moved the ball down the field. You've got to come away with points.
So Bowling Green takes over at its own 20. Second series for Matt Johnson, who's in for Matt Schultz. And out of the eye, he fakes to Green. Has a defender in his face, but a nice play to step out of the way. And a gain of 13. And the pass completed to Chris Pullman, seldom used junior out of Delphos, Ohio. So the sophomore out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who lost the battle during fall camp to Matt Schultz, entered on the 3rd drive and has been effective so far. 3 receivers stacked to the wide side of the field on 1st and 10. It's the converted receiver Green. He's 3 or 4. Trent Martin, the middle linebacker, there for the tackle. Give him 3, 2nd down and 7.
You can kind of see the confidence that Matt Johnson has out there. He's got a little savvy to him, a little bit of the walk. And I think that's some of the reasons why they were so tempted and why the quarterback competition was so close. Those intangibles, his athletic ability and that presence he has. I think it's easy to see from here.
Well, he didn't win the job out of camp, but he is in that spot before the first quarter clock winds to a close. So Bowling Green gets on the board first with a 34-yard field goal. Matt Schultz already out of the game. It's 3-0 Bowling Green after a quarter in a game between 2 teams with high expectations for this 2013 campaign. here in Bowling Green with college football primetime in the opening night of this 2013 season. Bowling Green with a 3-0 lead as we begin the second quarter. They started this thing with Matt Schultz at quarterback, who earned the job during fall camp. But after 2 drives that produced punts, Matt Johnson came into the game, led him down to a field goal, and has him set up with 2nd and 7 to begin this second quarter.
It's kind of given them a little bit of a spark. Complete some throws and starting to get their running game going a little bit too.
That's Derek Alexander, who's back in the game at D end after getting hurt on the opening kickoff. Matt Johnson, a redshirt sophomore from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who is top 10 in Pennsylvania history in passing yards and in touchdowns. How about these numbers? 7,944 yards and 85 passing touchdowns.
By the way, there's some pretty good quarterbacks that come out of Pennsylvania too, by the way. People probably looked at his height and thought he was a little too short. I like what I see so far.
On 2nd and 7, zone read play, and Johnson has some room. Close to a first down. Spot him at the 43. It is enough. John Jackson with a stop.
And you'll see the tight end gives an arc release, a lead blocker for the quarterback. And Johnson's athletic ability, again, sparking this offense, either evading the rush or as a runner with the football.
All 3 receivers stacked into the short side of the field on 1st and 10. They fake to Ronnie Moore, and then Johnson's pulled down. It's Trent Martin, a sophomore out of Jenks, Oklahoma, out of that middle linebacker spot with his first sack of the season.
And that's from a team that had 53 sacks last year. Again, the pump fake. Look at the penetration and change of direction by number 40, Trent Martin, from his middle linebacker position on the blitz. Love to see that. That's great pursuit of the quarterback, wrapping him up for the sack.
Defensive coordinator Brent Guy calls him the vintage middle linebacker. 2nd down and 13. Johnson has time underneath. This is Chris Gallen, who led the team in receiving as a freshman last year. That's his first catch this year. Michael Mudo up from his safety spot to get his 5th tackle already. Gallen, good size, 6'4", 225. Really exploded at the end of last season. His redshirt freshman campaign. Nearly half his production came in his final 3 games. 3rd and 7. Tulsa brings 6. So Johnson was spaced to throw, but can't hit Joplin, who was slow getting out of his break and the comeback. Dwight Dobbins with the coverage. It's 4th down.
That time Johnson had time. Travis Green picked up the blitzer. Time to throw the ball. That one just got away from him. Low and outside.
So 3rd punt for Brian Schmidtabush, who started his career at a Division II school, Findlay, here in Ohio. He's an All-American as a freshman and transferred here to Bowling Green. Left-footed kicker, angling one inside the 10, where Trey Watts makes the fair catch at the 9. So Tulsa will take control there when we come back. Also, when we come back, we'll have David guide you through his best games this weekend. That, of course, includes Georgia and Clemson, that showdown in Death Valley. opening weekend of the college football season. Dave, what are you watching?
Well, I tell you, gotta love Georgia, Clemson, both these teams with national championship desires and aspirations. Aaron Murray for Georgia, Gurley at running back, Marshall another part of that 1-2 punch, and their best job is to pound the football against Clemson. Both teams have questions on defense, but I tell you what, Taj Boyd at home, at Clemson, Watkins at wide receiver. I tell you what, there's exciting as ever. The best thing they could do is keep the ball away from Taj Boyd and that Clemson offense.
And the Clemson program ranked 8th, trying to become the first non-SEC team to knock off back-to-back top 10 SEC opponents ever. Of course, they beat LSU in the Chick-fil-A Bowl to wrap up 2012. Tulsa back on offense from its own 9. And Cody Green will keep it straight ahead with a nice cut for the big fella. Runs for 7 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 3 as Gabe Martin picks up the stop.
Well, Cody Green, he's 6'4", 250 pounds, and that's a part of that quarterback run game. It's a power run. He reads the guard, gives the ball, takes it, heads straight down north and south.
Pressure comes from the wide side. They run to the near side. And first down yardage for Trey Watts, former walk-on and the son of former Oklahoma quarterback J.C. Watts.
What a great one he was back in the option days.
Back-to-back Orange Bowl wins, 1979, 1980. Had a chance to visit with J.C. last night. Said Tulsa's been great for his son Trey, who was a walk-on to begin his career here. 1st and 10, Green, a design run into the teeth of the defense, but he's so big, just falling forward picks up a few extra. 5 or 6. Paul Swan making the stop.
A designed quarterback run game with a big physical guy. They get a lead blocker. They pull a guard. It's downhill running from the quarterback position.
Ran for close to 300 yards last year. Had 4 touchdowns on the ground. His first season since transferring from Nebraska. Here's Watts. And from his corner spot, Cameron Truss picks up the stop. 2 yards, 3rd and 2.
So far, this Bowling Green defense has been pretty darn tough. As good as advertised. Very active on all 3 levels. Boo Boo Gates, one of the best players in the country, coming down from the safety position. Gabe Martin, linebacker.
6 blockers for 5 in the box, but the defensive line beats the O-line and shuts it down. Paul Swan firing from his middle linebacker spot to help Jairus Campbell. They're spotted with no gain, 4th down.
Paul Swan has been a 2-time captain. You're going to see a middle linebacker take his gap, fit the gap, and finish the tackle. You got to love that.
This defense for Bowling Green, one of the top 10 units in the country last year, returning 9 starters, but having to replace a couple of key pieces, and that includes defensive tackle Chris Jones, who was the MAC Defensive Player of the Year a season ago. That time the interior got it done with a little help from Swan. Burbrink a fair catch at the 25. So Bowling Green back on offense with its defense pitching a shutout through a quarter plus.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness.
That is Dwight Perry, whose namesake is on this stadium, former coach and athletic director here at Bowling Green. Excellent crowd has filed in for the season opener. The Falcons in front 3-0. How about the student turnout for this game? About half of the crowd, at least on the near side, Bowling Green students, which have been in class for about a week now.
They're rocking and ready to go with those thunder sticks, huh?
Yeah, gotta love the thunder sticks. First down and 10 from the 25, and Johnson off a deep drop. Plenty of time, and zinging one for Joplin. First down to the 48. He'd beaten Bradley White in coverage, who's in there in place of DeMarco Nelson, suspended for academics.
I tell you what, great protection by the offensive line. You see Matt Johnson set up, get into that throw from the far hash. That had some zip on it. Sean Joplin goes low and secures the ball. Explosive play for Bowling Green,
which they didn't have a ton of last year. From the 46-yard line, tight end Bayer motions in to lead the way for Green. 4 yards, 2nd and 6. Well, Maction became a popular term in college football last year with all the success they had. They won 16 games against FBS schools, and of course Northern Illinois, the conference champ, made it to the Orange Bowl where Florida State rolled them 31-10. But a great season for Northern Illinois nonetheless. Great season for the MAC. Kent State unbeaten in the East, tied a school record with the 11 wins. Dree Archer, one of the more exciting players in the country to watch.
Yeah, if you haven't seen him play, boy, that guy's as good as this.
Dobbins steps in front of it for an interception. And Dwight Dobbins back to Bowling Green territory. 3rd interception of the junior's career as Johnson threw it late looking for Joplin.
That's right, late and to the outside. Great break on the football by Dwight Dobbins. You see Johnson right there off the play fake. He's looking at it all the way. He's a little bit late. Great eyes by Dwight Dobbins. Makes the pick. First turnover of the game.
That was either too tall for Joplin running the out or too late for Gallen on that comeback. So a big takeaway for Tulsa. And Dobbins part of this secondary that doesn't return any starting experience. Play action for Green. Throws low. Bounced in there looking for Garrett. 2nd and 10. Now Cody Green, great leader for this team. Coaches love that leadership ability. Teammates love his toughness. Played the second half of the Marshall game last year with a separated shoulder. Numbers weren't good, but made big plays when they needed him, even with that injury.
That makes you stand tall in the eyes of your teammates.
Pressure comes, heaving one to the middle, incomplete. Trey Watts came loose late, but off his back foot, didn't have enough on it. 3rd and 10.
And that was Ted Ouellette on the pressure from the defensive line position. Ouellette, a guy they're counting on to fill some big shoes up front defensively. He's a high motor guy, finishes it off in the legs of Cody Green.
Third down and 10. Tulsa 2 for 7 on 3rd down so far. And Bill Blankenship will use his 2nd timeout with 9:10 left in this first half. Bowling Green's defense trying to force another punt. Coach Blankenship will try and draw something up in the break. First quarter field goal, the only scoring in this game. Bowling Green leads Tulsa 3-0. Dwight Perry Stadium in Bowling Green, Ohio. 23,734. It's the fourth smallest FBS stadium. Of course, the Kibbe Dome just 16,000 at Idaho. LT Smith Stadium in Bowling Green, Kentucky seats just 22,000, and then Ball State in Ohio also in the MAC. A couple of great facilities, but the right size for this conference. Third down and 10 for Tulsa out of that break. Pressure comes from Bowling Green. It's picked up, so Garrett comes free in the middle and gets his hands underneath for 15 yards and a first down. He beat Cameron Truss, and Cody Green did a great job to stand in and fire it.
Yeah, that's trust and timing between quarterback and wide receiver. The one place he could throw it was low, and Kieris Garrett went down and made that catch.
That ball thrown to either Garrett or Watts. Nobody was ready for it. Rylan Ward came up and made it extra crowded. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, both receivers have their back to their quarterback. Not ready for the football, though. Miscommunication there. Right when we're bragging about the timing,
yeah.
Huh?
Second and 10, play action. Into the flats for Watts. Very good as a pass catcher out of the backfield. And 34 grabs a season ago. Cameron Truss pushed him out of bounds after 4, 3rd and 6.
Yeah, and you'll see that in their offensive formations where they'll have Douglas as a running back. They line Watts up out in the slot, finding different ways of getting him the football. A good example of what a natural pass catcher he is.
Empty set on 3rd down. 4-man rush, 7 in coverage, but room to find Watts for a first down. Settled down in the middle of that zone and got 9. DJ Lynch made the tackle, but not before first down.
That's why Trey Watts is such a valuable weapon. You see the savvy to know the coverage, sit in the soft spot of the zone, make the catch, and convert a critical 3rd down. Now they find themselves in the red zone.
For only the 2nd time today. Bubble for Patterson. Block from James. Lost the football. And Bowling Green's got it. Boo Boo Gates dove on top of it. And Bowling Green with a big stop.
Right when Tulsa's in the red zone making a big play, Derek Patterson fighting for extra yards, forgets about ball security as Boo Boo Gates in on the tackle, might have stripped the football. As Bowling Green comes up with it, Aaron Foster, as you look at their goals right there defensively, stop the run, limit big plays, create turnovers. Checking those off the list, huh?
They got one of the 3. The play clock had already run down to 3. And so Bowling Green forced to call a timeout. Boy, they started that play clock in a hurry. And Dave Clausen takes his first timeout of this half. Well, the Geico ESPN High School Football Showcase continues tomorrow on ESPNU at 11 o'clock Eastern. Don't miss these elite athletes battling out in the gridiron. Colquitt County out of Georgia facing Hoover. You got one of the top corners in the country for Hoover, Marlon Humphrey, the number 9 player overall in the ESPN 300. Undeclared at this point. Hot board on ESPN's Recruiting Nation has him staying in state and playing for Alabama. And Colquitt County with a handful of 3-stars, including Ole Miss commit Jemias Pittman. It's 11 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPNU.
This is why in training camp you practice all these situations coming out of your own end zone. Little power running game right now for Bowling Green.
And it's William Houston, a freshman at 6', 262. Who began as a preferred walk-on at Ohio State, but has transferred in here to Bowling Green. And to be used situationally, at least early on.
Yeah, if you need a little power running game, 260 pounds adds to that power part of the game. A little fullback in there, a couple tight ends. These are things, this is where teams got to learn how to move the ball fight for critical yards. Give your offense some breathing room.
Got 2, so 2nd down and 8. And back to Houston. Runs low out to the 10. It's 7 yards. It'll be 3rd down and short. Houston out of Dublin, Ohio, hometown of Brady Quinn, hometown of Wendy's restaurant.
You're speaking my language, huh?
Yeah.
Tell you what, that offensive line's been eating some Wendy's because they are leaning on guys up front right now with the big running back, pounding the line of scrimmage, running north and south.
3rd down and a yard. Trying to pick up a 1st down for the first time on 3rd down today. They bring Green back in, and he's shut down. Mitchell Osborne slammed him for a loss of a yard.
These linebackers for Tulsa, Mitchell Osborne, Trent Martin, you're going to see them attack the line of scrimmage, playing north and south. Each one has a gap, trusting the other one's going to be there if there's any kind of movement by the running back. Defeat their blockers and make the tackle on a critical 3rd down. Big time.
Interesting that they went to Green, 180 pounds on 3rd and 1, instead of keeping Houston 260 in there. Schmitterbush punts a line drive to Trey Watts. Now Watts with a solid return. An excellent field position for Tulsa. That one brought back to the 33. That's where Tulsa will begin. The studio will bring it on the other side of the break. Give us an update on what's going on around the rest of the country.
North Carolina had a 17-play drive for a field goal, so the Gamecocks go 1 play for a touchdown. It's Mike Davis, 75 yards for the score. We'll talk about that at the half. Johnny Manziel's suspension, what it means, and can 2 quarterbacks work for the Trojans? See you at half. Joe.
All right, Matt. Steve Spurrier trying to get to 23-1 in season openers as a head coach. Bowling Green trying to get to 1-0. So is Tulsa. They're just trying to find some points. Down 3-0 late in this first half. From the gun, Cody Green on 1st down sets up a trick play. It's true freshman Kevin Lucas, so strong to weave his way for 5. Well, head coach Bill Blankenship says that this is one of the more talented freshmen Tulsa's had in a long time.
And they were really impressed with him in spring ball and fall ball. He's an early enrollee. They just questioned whether he could do it on game day. They need to see it there as well. Nice little split action reverse to him.
Douglas into the backfield. Green off play action, off his back foot, but to the numbers for Trey Watts. Perfect off-balance throw. Watts runs his way for a first down and a gain of 16.
They've really found a way to use Trey Watts in the play action and passing game right there. That time he lined up away from Jatarian Douglas and came across in the backfield into the flat. Gave his quarterback a nice easy throw. You see how easy he catches the football. It's very natural for him.
Last season, Tulsa's red zone offense was not very good. And 0 for 1 tonight. Douglas dances into the arms of Ronnie Goebel, a backup defensive end, but a two-time team captain out of Plymouth, Michigan. It's second down and 12.
See Ronnie Goebel again coming off the edge, up the middle. Defense, look how many jerseys there are. Right there, that orange, all over the place, swarming defensive front.
Check with me tempo here for Tulsa. We'll see what the defense has. Then Green gets the play from the sideline. Straight drop on 2nd and 12 and misfires to a wide open Jordan James. Boy, Aaron Foster was giving him about 12 yards of cushion. And pitch and catch gone awry, 3rd and 13.
That one just like Cody Green held on the ball just a little bit long. Just couldn't get it to the big wide receiver.
Staff has raved about Green's improvement. Think that he's ready for a big senior season. On 3rd down, looking wide side, tries to get away, but can't. Thrown down for a loss of 2. And it'll be 4th down as Kendall Montgomery, a converted tight end, got to him with Ted Ouellette.
You'll see that defensive line. Look at the movement, running stunts up front. The relentless pursuit of Ted Ouellette as well. Again, coverage downfield. Nice work by the defensive unit. You see why they're so good. Pressure up front from the back. Great coverage in the back end of that Bowling Green defense.
A 34-yard attempt here is peeling wide to the right from Dalton Parks. Or it was Carl Salazar, beg your pardon. Now 0 for 2 to begin his college career. So Tulsa 3 times has had the ball inside the 30. Twice they've missed field goals, and once they coughed the ball up inside the 10.
And it's critical to come away with points within that fringe area as you border on the red zone. Got to find a way, 1, to convert 3rd downs, or 2, make your field goal opportunities. 2 missed right there. That's why they're sitting with the goose egg on the scoreboard right now. And remember, this is one of the highest scoring offenses in college football last year.
So Bowling Green takes over again. From the 25, it's Green. And Green gets popped after a gain of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Sean Jackson with a tackle. Jackson, the defensive MVP of that Liberty Bowl win last year for Tulsa. In a rematch against Iowa State, a team that had beaten them earlier in the year. And his experience, about all the experience that this defense has.
You know, Brent Guy talks about him as a player, and he's one of those guys that plays better through people. In traffic, he has a way of going through blockers and finding the football.
Green with a nice comeback and a 1st down. Mitchell Osborne throws him down, gain of 7. And Green has had a nice little burst in his first game as a running back.
Yeah, you know, he runs between the tackles a little better than you would think for a person of his size, especially a converted wide receiver. That shows you some toughness right there. Good vision, good quickness. You see why they made the move.
Yeah, he said that he's always wanted to play running back, but was always told that he's too small. At 5'10", 180 pounds. Having the chance here in his redshirt sophomore season. Went to the short side of the field for Ronnie Moore. The A true freshman that they're really excited about out of Sanford, Florida. Gives them a big play threat. They didn't have a ton of those last year.
And that time they're just running a little fly sweep to their speedster, trying to get him to the perimeter. Nice job of that Tulsa defense of stringing it out, but even a better job of Ronnie Moore putting on the brakes and fighting for a couple extra yards.
Cluster formation to the near side of the formation. And Green will get a couple. That pile getting pushed forward to make it 3rd down and 1.5 yards with the clock winding inside of 2 minutes and 2 timeouts remaining for the Falcons.
And really another example of Travis Green, again, able to move that pile forward, getting a little help from his offensive lineman, pushing the pile. Tight end in there, Alex Bear, helping the little guy out.
Bring the 260-pound William Houston back in. I'm not sure he got it. We'll see where the spot is, but the interior of that defense, led by Brenham Todd, was stout on that 3rd down and short play.
Well, there was a collision at the point of attack between Chris Pullman at fullback and that Tulsa defense. There's some crack-a-lacking going on in there. That's some tough sledding. That's football right there. Let's see who comes out on top. This is going to be close.
Dave Clawson says be ready here if this is a 1st down to get into the hurry up with 1:07. They do have the 1st down, so now they'll break into that 2-minute offense. Let's see how Matt Johnson executes it. Their first 3rd down conversion of the night extends this drive. 5-man pressure. Johnson in a collapsing pocket. Sails it over the head of Joplin, defended by Dobbins. And 2nd down and 10.
That pocket was collapsing on Matt Johnson. He was trying to wait for something to uncover. Wisely, he threw that one over the heads of everybody and out towards the sidelines.
Five-man pressure again. Johnson steps up. Let's see his speed. 1st down inside the 40. Pick up a 19 as Muto comes over to make the stop. And only a few seconds run off the clock.
Matt Johnson saw all he needed to do. There was an alley. Just one linebacker standing between him and the secondary. And that was number 40, Trent Martin, the middle linebacker. That's a matchup he'll take every day.
Falcons snap it as soon as it's marked ready. Pressure comes and knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Lionel Phillips. True freshman out of Garland, Texas, got his hand on it as Johnson was trying to go over the middle. Let's go back to that big run from Johnson.
And you'll see Johnson right here. It's a 5-man rush, like you said. Look at this hole open up. Just him and the middle linebacker one-on-one. He gets what he can get, takes a hit, secures the football.
5 for 12 for Johnson, who a season ago only threw the ball 28 times total behind Matt Schiltz. 2nd down and 10. Double clutches and ducks under a defender. Matt Johnson for a 1st down to the 29. Brenham Todd thought he had a knockout blow, then Johnson disappeared.
You're starting to see some of the savvy I'm sure this young man has displayed during training camp and is doing right now offensively.
Tails one for Chris Gallen. And it will be 2nd down and 10.
He's gamey. I kind of like, he's got a little something there to him. The way he moves, you see where he's leading this team. I like it. Gave him the okey doke right there, huh? Now you see me, now you don't.
Half minute left in this first half. Johnson rolling. Eyes downfield. Fires one. Tipped and incomplete. Off of the hands of Ryan Burbrink, defended by Bradley White. And 3rd down and 10 coming up for the Falcons. 22 seconds remaining in this first half. And from here, it'd be a 46-yard field goal.
Boy, Burbrink had a chance to come down with that football. Kind of a design, delayed roll out there at Travis Green, give him a little extra time. Had a shot to pick up some chunk yardage, see if they convert on 3rd down.
Third and 10, delayed pressure. Johnson fires one for a first down. Chris Gallen to the 16. Still 2 timeouts left for the Falcons. Johnson wants to spike the ball. And as soon as they mark it ready, does. Gallen with a reception.
See the protection holding up right here. Again, those young tackles on the edge doing a nice job. Great vision outside to see the late pressure that gave Matt Johnson the time to complete that throw to Chris Gallen.
2nd and 10. Pressure comes. Picked up into the end zone, but too tall for the converted receiver. Green running out of the backfield. And it's 3rd down and 10. So 12 seconds left here. 2 timeouts for Bowling Green, so they can utilize the middle of the field if they need to. This has kind of been the story in this first half. There's been some movement of the football, but neither team's been very good in the red zone. 15th play of this drive for the Falcons. Johnson steps up. Spins his way down to the 10. They'll burn one of those timeouts with 6 seconds and bring the field goal team out. And not sure what Dave Clawson is upset about.
Normally a heated discussion.
Normally
with the
pretty mild-mannered guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Very mild-mannered. Like what he's done, he's won at every level he's been at. This has something to do with setting of the clock, I'm sure. He's not happy either way. They'll have a chance for 3 points right here. And scoring on your last possession for the half does so much for your team in terms of momentum heading into halftime. As the crowd's getting into it, there's Brent Guy, defensive coordinator of Tulsa, trying to rally his troops, making sure that it is going to be kicked.
They do bring Tyler Tate out to attempt this field goal from 27 yards. Made from 34 in the first quarter. Out of the hole to the tight end, Alex Bayer. Sneaks it through. 6-0 Bowling Green. A kicker's been an issue here over the last several years. The Bowling Green fans excited about Tyler Tate, who took over the job midway through last season and has started to give him some consistency there. He's now 9 for 12 in his career at Bowling Green.
Well, it's so important with the style of football, one that they played last year. Conservative on offense, great defense, get a lead. And their defense is showing right now, pitch and shutout in the first half, that they're as good as advertised. And offensively, it looks like with Matt Johnson at the helm, they've got some bigger playability. They've got the ability to make some things happen. He can create opportunities with his athleticism and fairly accurate football.
Well, coming up at halftime on SportsCenter Halftime Report, Jadeveon Clowney's debut as South Carolina takes on North Carolina. Of course, Johnny Manziel suspended yesterday, but for just one half. Opening half of the Rice game on Saturday. Can a two-quarterback system work for USC? We'll look at all that and more in the SportsCenter Halftime Report. Guessing that's Frida Falcon, not Freddie, judging by the eyelashes.
You never know.
Ponytail.
You never know.
Well, Bowling Green got to be happy with the lead, but probably a little bit concerning in that this is a lot like it was last year. The defense pitching a shutout, the offense not doing much.
Yeah, neither team is going to be happy with their offensive output and the turnovers.
It looked like one of the outmen went down to a knee to get it, but they'll let it play out and let this first half come to a close. 2 field goals accounting for the first half scoring in this sloppy opening 30 minutes in Bowling Green. Let's head to the studio for the SportsCenter Halftime Report. Here is Matt Sick.
Thank you, Joe. This is Halftime. Matt Sick along with former UCLA All-American tight end Charles Arbuckle. It is the start of college football season. Feels like baseball season. 6-0 here at the half.
Yeah, you would expect more from a Tulsa offense. They are 153 total yards. Bowling Green is doing a very nice job. Every time Tulsa gets anything going, stopping them. I think this is one of those games where if they get a home run or a grand slam, we could see a different kind of ball game here.
Tulsa averaged 34 points a game last season. Stymied at the goose egg, 6-0 at the half. Over on ESPN, no such scoring issues in Columbia. South Carolina, their highest preseason ranking in the AP all-time, number 6, and that might be the number 1 player in all of college football. The SEC Defensive Player of the Year last year, but it was offense getting the start early, right, Reese Davis?
Connor Shaw going for his first pass and taking a shot. There is Shaq Rowland. He's out there. First touchdown of the 2013 season. 65 yards.
And Connor Shaw's first pass of the season goes for 65 yards. That one to Rowland for the touchdown at 7-0. Then Jadeveon Clowney, again, so effective, can disrupt plays even when he's not knocking guys' helmets off.
Well, you think you have him handled here, but the tackle lets him go to the guard. That's not a good matchup. He beats that. Forces Bryn Renner to throw the ball quickly, but they did a pretty good job against him for most of the game.
It's 10-0, and then enter Dylan Thompson. His first pass of the game. Hey, you got 2 quarterbacks? You don't have no quarterbacks. You got 2 quarterbacks.
They set this up nice. They were running the football effectively, some short throws, and then they go for the jugular there.
Both passing for touchdowns in the first quarter. 17-0 South Carolina. North Carolina finally gets on the board. Bryn Renner to Quinshaw Davis.
Nice route. Hold the safety down, go over the top. You're able to put it in there nicely.
It was 20-7 at the half. North Carolina had a 17-play drive for a field goal. South Carolina does a 1-play drive for a touchdown.
Poor tackling, bad angles, and then you outrun 3 guys. That safety has to be back there. Comes up in a bad position.
Mike Davis, 75-yard touchdown run there. He earned the job in the spring. The sophomore, you can see why. He's already got 106 yards on those 9 carries. Of course, 75 yards on 1 carry will help do that for you. South Carolina has the ball, leading 27-10 in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes to go. So all eyes, no matter what happens in Columbia, are going to be on Jadeveon Clowney. And if you've watched ESPN at all tonight, you've seen the stats, the hurries from the right side, from the left side. How would you break down or analyze how he's done so far?
Well, Matt, every team in America knows that Jadeveon Clowney is a person that you have to stop with South Carolina. So now he can stop worrying about it, because I can tell you, he's trying his best, but they're chipping him. They're doing everything they can to make sure they disrupt him. Right there, Hurst passes him off. They're doing a lot to disrupt him, touching him. In basketball, when you're going up to shots, you don't want that to happen. And you can see right there, getting his legs, getting after him. And the thing about it is slowing him down. On that long drive, he had to come out after that. Couldn't do much, but the other side was able to make plays. So all the hype he's going to be a good player, but they're going to game plan against him. They're going to try to slow him down. Bottom line, South Carolina's winning the ball game.
And trying to slow him down can be done by, as Larry Fedora wanted to do, hurrying up that offense. And like you said, he had to come out a time or two. How effective can that be to neutralize a player even like Clowney?
It can be very effective because usually the book on Clowney is if you go right at him, he won't be as effective. Well, that's everybody. I mean, Bruce Smith, who I played against, Reggie White was the only guy that you could go after him with 3 people, he'd stop you. Jadeveon Clowney is a player that is going to be very good at the next level. But the one thing he also has to do is say, okay, if I don't get stats, I help my other teammates get better. They make plays. We win the ball game. That's the most important thing.
No defensive lineman will probably be analyzed and dissected as much as Jadeveon Clowney will this season. Other SEC action tonight over on ESPN, 9:15 Eastern Time. Ole Miss and Vandy, 2 programs on an upward trajectory. What do you think here?
What elevator goes for which one? Up or down? I mean, if you're Vandy, you think, hey, anchor down, but we want to go up in the elevator. If you're Ole Miss, you want to build on what you did last year and the success that you had. I think both of these programs are in a position where they haven't been in a while, and they can do some things, and these are the kind of games that can be turning point games for that to happen.
Of course, Ole Miss with all the recruiting momentum that they accrued over the last season. Well, some positive momentum for Texas A&M, and that Johnny Manziel suspended, but only for a half. The first half of Saturday's opener against Rice. NCAA rules, he said it was an inadvertent violation, according to Texas A&M. They didn't find any evidence that Manziel received money for the autographs. The NCAA found no evidence, but essentially ruled he permitted his likeness to be used for commercial purposes by signing so many autographs. And by the half, all right, they're going to miss out on his best half. Rice will. The Owls don't have to put up with his 90 quarterback rating there and a 69% completion percentage, but he will enter in the second half this Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time in College Station. How does this suspension and what happened here impact the Aggies, specifically in Week 1?
We got an old Southwest Conference battle here going, and old school. But seriously, I think the biggest thing is now we can worry about football. Johnny Manziel got a suspension, which either they should have suspended him for a game or none. Now he got the ability to play, and we all want to see him play. The thing is, I've said it all off season. If there's no paper trail, they're not going to find anything. I thought he would play the whole season. Oh, I was wrong by a half. But what I will say is this is where he wants to be. He wants to be on the field. And the same things people love about him, this is what can get a kid like this in trouble because he has the ability to make plays and do all of those things. It's going to be just like we see with Jadeveon Clowney. It won't be probably the Rice game, even though they have a very good defense coming back. We will see more pressure, more defensive adjustments against Johnny, more things that you saw in the LSU-Florida game, and even in the second half of the Alabama game when they slowed him down some. That's what teams are looking for. All those great coaches out there try to find ways to stop you. It'll be hard. He'll be hard-pressed to get 52, 53, 400 yards, but winning ball games is what he wants to do.
Going to have a young quarterback in his stead there in that first half. Any cause for concern there with the Aggies? You mentioned the Owls have a good defense coming back.
Well, a lot of these kids have played against each other. They've grown up playing against each other, and Rice has a chip on their shoulder because they want to be successful. I think with Mike Evans there, Ben Molina, some of the other weapons that they have, with Matthews coming back, also his brother playing center now, Bruce Matthews, he just keeps making babies that can play offensive line. I just think the one thing is they may have too much talent for this Rice team, but Rice is going to be scrappy.
Be interesting to see how many carries Ben Molina gets in that first half against Rice. Hand it off to him, get to that second half. Coming up, USC, tonight in action. Speaking of 2 quarterbacks, Lane Kiffin still hasn't decided on who he's going to start. We'll get into that, see if that is an issue. Matt Johnson. They've got 2 Matts at quarterback. It wasn't Schultz. It was Johnson providing some damage late. This halftime report is brought to you by Zaxby's, the official chicken of college fans. Well, who's the official quarterback for the USC Trojans? We don't know that as of yet. Lane Kiffin has not made that decision. In fact, we'll play both quarterbacks tonight, taking on Hawaii. Cody Kessler and Max Whittick. Silas Red, though, the running back you see there, will not play, not making the trip. He's banged up for the Trojans. USC tonight, 11 Eastern, taking on Hawaii. They've dominated the series, winning all 8 previous meetings, including last year's opener, 49-10. Of course, former USC offensive coordinator Norm Chow beginning his second season as Hawaii's head coach. We've seen the other USC, South Carolina, use 2 quarterbacks. Steve Spurrier seems to know how to do that with Dylan Thompson and Connor Shaw. But Max Whittick and Cody Kessler, if Lane Kiffin doesn't know who to play, he's playing both, what do you make of that situation?
I think it's the competition that they're playing. First off, you got a chance to play against Hawaii, and I've been on teams where you don't quite know who's going to be the starter. The players kind of know, but they also think, okay, let's see it live in real action. So they're going to get to see that. They're going to get both guys, both Whittick and Kessler. Even Marquise Lee said, hey, why don't we make a decision? The other part to this, though, is that this is USC's depth hurting them. They don't get I know they say they went hard this fall, but they cannot hit as much as they want to with the number of scholarships that they've been reduced. So what happens is you don't get as much live action. Guys look great in 7-on-7, 1-on-1, but you have to have game action to really get comfortable and feel a true feel of what the quarterback is. Now, as a receiver, you want them to make a decision on one because you get comfortable with one guy, the way he throws an out route or he throws a dig route or he throws a certain route to you that you feel comfortable with. I think it's the competition, but also the depth at USC that's allowing Lane Kiffin to do this in this game.
What do you think Lane Kiffin's going to be looking for his quarterback?
Get the ball to those weapons on the outside, Nelson Aguilar, and also Marquise Lee. You make sure you get them the ball, young man, and if they get it for 5 and go 50, you're going to start.
And don't make mistakes. Okay, USC and Hawaii, that's tonight. The other USC, South Carolina, taking on North Carolina. And what is this? In the fourth quarter, leaving the field because of a lightning delay, 27-10. South Carolina will keep you posted on that. Again, weather in the area. We shall keep you posted when they resume. Boy, it looked like Tulsa was going in, but fumble recovery by Aaron Foster, keeping the Golden Hurricane off the board. scores around the country. Indiana, that'll happen when you're facing an FCS team. Utah up 14-3 on Utah State. Interesting scores. Wake Forest was down early to Presbyterian. They're up 24-7. Jim Grove has played more than a half dozen true freshmen early on. Connecticut trailing Towson as they close in on the first half. And Kent State of the MAC tied with Liberty. Turner Gill led Liberty at 10 with 4 minutes to go.
Also, Kent State, think about it. Dree Archer went out in the game earlier.
Yeah, Dree Archer injured and out so far. Cody Green sacked by Kendall Montgomery. Bowling Green up. Darren Oka, Mel Kiper Jr., the final hour of their radio show this Saturday can now be seen right here on ESPNU, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, the last time Tulsa was shut out in the first half of a game, September of 2011, nearly 2 years. Boise State, Bowling Green up 6-0.
This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
Great work by our tape room, getting us ready to go for half number 2 here in Bowling Green, Ohio. It's 6-0. The Falcons in front as we welcome you back inside our broadcast booth. Two-time Super Bowl champ David Diaz-Infante, Joe Davis. Your typical opening game, pretty sloppy first half.
Yeah, the offense has certainly struggled finding any kind of rhythm, but really the defenses, I think Bowling Green's defense was good as advertised, and surprisingly Tulsa's defense, with all the youth and lack of experience, certainly did their part of it. Putting pressure on the quarterback, attacking on the defensive side of the ball, and that's Trent Martin leading the way there. And young Bradley White filling in for DeMarco Nelson. They've done a fine job of putting pressure on that Bowling Green offense.
Now, Dwight Dobbins had a pick of Matt Johnson. Let's face it, both teams have had their chances. Tulsa 0 for 3 in the red zone.
And Boo Boo Gates forcing the fumble there, and Aaron Foster on the recovery. And then they're able to put pressure on the quarterback. Ronnie Goebel making the sack for Bowling Green.
A couple of missed field goals, and then that fumble you saw from Derek Patterson leading to the 0 of 3 in the red zone. The total yardage fairly even. One thing that stands out here is Tulsa's 46 rushing yards. They were one of the top 10 ground teams in the country last year.
In 5 of their wins last season, they rushed for averaged over 200 yards a game. Also really stands out to me is Bowling Green's defense in the red zone. Shut out Tulsa. They were down there 3 times, came away with 0 points. That's what good defenses do. I'm not concerned about yards between the 20s. What do you do once the ball gets down in the red zone, in the critical area? Do you have a way to come up with stops and keep people off the scoreboard? They've done just that.
Bill Blankenship hoping his team can turn it around in this second half. The preseason favorite to repeat as Conference USA champs, and gunning for their 5th 10-win season in the last 7 years against a Bowling Green team coming off its best season since '07. One of the favorites to win the MAC. Cody Green sloppy in that first half for this Tulsa squad in its final season in the Conference USA, headed to the American next year. Well, one of the more dominant programs in Conference USA, certainly the last few years, probably the most dominant team. As Boo Boo Gates waits back for this kick from Colway to get this second half started. Two teams with high expectations meeting to kick off 2013. And we move into the second half as Gates takes a touchback. Bowling Green to begin at the 25-yard line. 197 yards of offense for the Falcons in that first half. Matt Schultz won the job during camp, but went just 2 drives. It resulted in a pair of punts, and then Matt Johnson came in, went 6 for 16, but gave a spark to this group.
Yeah, he certainly did. You can see his mobility in the pocket and calmness there as well, too. Never panicked with the football, created things, extended the play with his legs, then also made big plays running the football as well.
They ran the ball for 43 yards, about 8 yards a carry for the redshirt sophomore out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So from the 25, they begin with Travis Green, the converted wide receiver, with a solid gain of 9 or 10. Michael Mudo, Mitchell Osborne in for the stop. It is enough for a first down, and Travis Green moves over 50 yards in his first game as a running back.
No mystery right there. Just an ISO lead play down the right side, attacking the defense north and south. That's one way to deal with all the movement that Tulsa will do defensively. Go downhill, attack them in a straight line.
From the 35, it's Green again. Bellying to the outside. Stepped out of a tackle with a flag down. Got a couple, but those flags come flying in. Brenham Todd came over to make this stop for Tulsa.
Illegal block below the waist. Number 52, offense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
That's a 4-year starter and Dominic Fluellen call.
Yeah, getting down around the legs. And I think it might have been on Trent Martin. Right there it is. Boy, his head is in front. That is a legal block in my eyes. You have to be able to make that. He got his head in front. Trent Martin turned sideways a little bit at the end. But that looked like a good block. Of course, I'm a former offensive lineman. You know which side I'll err on. But, you know, those are points of emphasis this year. Player safety at a paramount right now.
I'm with you, though. Johnson with time. And with Chris Gallen close to the 30-yard line. Sean Jackson in there with Bradley White for the tackle. As Matt Johnson continues to settle in.
Nice protection by that offensive line, too. Give him a clean pocket to throw from, so he can also hang in there and deliver from a static position as well.
Gallen was their leading receiver last year as a redshirt freshman. Really came on late and tried to continue with the momentum from that. From the eye on 2nd down and 14. Off play action. A lot of room as he boots and throws, and Joplin has it. Inbounds for a first down at midfield. Sean Joplin, second season as a starter for the senior out of Sylvania, Ohio, gets 19 to move the chains.
Yeah, working one-on-one coverage. You'll see Matt Johnson rolling to his left. And you'll see Joplin, he's a former high jumper too, elevate for the football and get 1 foot in for the catch.
So they've fallen way behind the chains with a penalty on first down, but still able to pick up that first down to midfield. Here's Ronnie Moore on the reverse with speed. The true freshman Moore explodes inside the 15. 36 yards for the native out of Sanford, Florida, before Sean Jackson chased him down.
And this will require such discipline from you defensively. You're going to see the misdirection in the backfield, the lead blocker out in front. It's a tight end for Bowling Green. And Ronnie Moore has the speed. Once the safeties make a mistake, they're late, and he picks up chunk yardage, explosive play for Bowling Green.
First team All-Stater at Seminole High School in Florida, who's still grasping the offense. But a big-time playmaker that'll help this offense this year. Green, space, Green reaches to the 1, and it's first down and goal. Darnell Walker Jr., the only thing that stopped Green from getting his first rushing touchdown.
Just a counter play in the backfield, and you're playing against aggressive defenses. The action will start one way, come back the other with a pulling guard and a fullback. And Travis Green heads north and south, just shy of the goal line.
And they bring in their 260-pound bowling ball, William Houston. On first down and goal, the big fella is in for the touchdown.
A nice element to add to your offense. You have a 260-pound back. Let him get downhill. A lead block at the point of attack by your fullback, Chris Pullman. And William Houston, 260 pounds, rocks the end zone.
And Tyler Tate to add the extra point out of the hole to the tight end, Alex Bayer. They do in the first drive of this second half what they couldn't during the first 30 minutes of this game. And that is get in the end zone. The freshman William Houston started his career as a preferred walk-on at Ohio State. Transfers to Bowling Green and gives the Falcons their first touchdown of this new campaign.
Well.
Bowling Green in the end zone in its first possession of the second half. It's the freshman William Houston, all 260 pounds of him, plunging in from a yard. And Matt Johnson has stepped into the quarterback spot with Matt Schultz going 2 series and 2 punts. Johnson, the number is not great, but he sparked this offense with Travis Green playing his first game as a running back, converted receiver, 65 yards on the ground. Sean Joplin had a big catch to extend that drive. And Bowling Green with a 2-score lead early in this third quarter. There's Travis Green, who said that he's always wanted to play running back. He was always told that he was too small to play running back. 5'8" or 5'10", 180 pounds. Down in Carroll City, Florida, where he was high school teammates with the guy that he's replacing, Anton Samuel, transferred down to FIU to be closer to his family. Darnell Walker Jr., redshirt freshman, brings it from a yard deep. The son of Darnell Walker Sr. is his DB coach. Out to the 23. Key play on that drive. A little bit of trickery on a reverse to the speedy Ronnie Moore.
Some of the deceptive runs that they use, you're going to see right here. Green, he's going to take the ball this way. Their tight end's going to become a lead blocker, and here's Moore that's going to come all the way back around, and you'll see what it does to the safeties and pulls the defense into the line of scrimmage. And they have the one blocker right here for the one guy that's left in run support, and you'll see why it turns into explosive play and why discipline with your eyes is so important at that second level.
Terrian Douglas off of the swing pass from Green, gets a couple, 2nd down and 8. Brian Thomas over from his defensive end spot to bring Douglas down. So when does this Tulsa offense get some rhythm? This is the strength of this team. Dave Clawson, head coach for Bowling Green, said he thinks Tulsa's got BCS level skill players. Trying to get some of them involved. Here's Patterson, who's banged down. Justin Ford, backup linebacker out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, after a gain of 2, 3rd down and about 6.
Well, you just see right when it looks like Tulsa has some room outside on the perimeter. That Bowling Green defense, those orange jerseys just swarming to the football.
Empty set with Douglas motioning out. 3-man rush, 8 men in coverage. It's Garrett, and he hauls it in with 3 defenders draped over his back. First down to the 47 on a pickup of 27.
When you're struggling to get any rhythm offensively, your playmakers have to step up. And this time, Kieris Garrett does just that, fighting for the ball along the sidelines. And that foot is in with 3 orange jerseys around him.
Now to the ground for Douglas. The penetration too much. Ronnie Goebel has had a tremendous game out of that defensive end spot. A 2-time team captain out of Plymouth, Michigan, just outside of Detroit near Ann Arbor. A guy that is 2nd in the 2 deep, but he's made his presence felt all evening.
Yeah, works in the rotation, and with Charlie Walker getting dinged a little bit, you see him more and more snaps and making the most of it. That's what you expect out of your 5th-year senior.
Short gain, 2nd and 10. Green, catch and throw. Underneath Kevin Lucas. True freshman to the 39. That's a gain of 15 for the Abilene, Texas native, who is the only mid-year enrollee in this freshman class.
And you'll see Kevin Lucas uncovered right there, the 3rd receiver. Just a little stick concept right there. Playing with the spacing of that linebacker. You're going to cover him or you're not. You're going to play the run in the box, or you're going to cover the inside receiver and trips.
Play action, pressure, and he'll toss it away. They tried to dump it off to the tight end Tyler Wilson, but pressure in the face of Green. 2nd down and 10. Green above 50%, 155 yards for the 2nd-year starter. Started 4 games in a couple of seasons at Nebraska, won them all, but ultimately lost that job and transferred. And Douglas can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Jarris Campbell was there with Kendall Montgomery. Lost a couple, 3rd and 12.
Jarris Campbell at 6'5", 295 pounds. You see the length, edges the offensive blocker, penetrates the backfield and creates a loss on 2nd down and 10. Now 3rd and long. This is where this defense has a chance to shine.
Where they shined all last year, 4th in the nation on 3rd down. 9 starters back from that group. 3rd and 12 with 8 men dropping into coverage. Over the top, has Garrett, but it's broken up. Cameron Truss stride for stride with Kieris Garrett, and it's 4th down.
Those are 2 of the impact players that we talked about. Here's a shot to 3-man rush. They're dropping 8, and he has coverage one-on-one with Kieris Garrett. Cameron Truss makes the play. A well-thrown football. He gets his hand in there late, disrupts the reception. Outstanding job. That's a matchup we talked about early in this football contest, and Cameron Truss gets the better of that one.
So punt team onto the field. Here's Colway, his 5th punt. Angles it away from Burbrink. And they will spot this one down at the 15. Studio brings us out of break with an update for the rest of the games.
Magic back in the studio. I want to keep you posted on what happened 6 minutes ago in South Carolina. That happened. That lightning, the game still in a weather delay, and now this is happening at South Carolina. Rain pretty thick. You're not going to complete a pass through that. An empty stadium, a weather delay. This game will resume on ESPN News when it does, except for those in North and South Carolina. You folks will still see it over on ESPN. Back to weather-friendly Bowling Green. Joe.
13-0 Bowling Green in front here, Matt. They scored in their final possession of the first half and first possession of the second half. Back to work from the 15 with Matt Johnson, who did not start this game, was in a quarterback competition through the fall. Matt Schultz won the job, but through 2 series didn't produce anything, and Johnson replaced him. Travis Green bounces off contact and gets 6 or 7 to the 21. Brenham Todd made the stop. Last couple of drives, as Falcons offense has started to figure it out. They've doubled their production yardage-wise over the first 6 drives. Last season at this point, Dave Clawson would be the first to tell you this was the point where they'd sit on it, run the ball, trust the defense. But he told us yesterday you can't win championships with that style. First chance for them to put the pedal to the metal with a lead in the second half. Let's see if they do it. They faked that reverse action that they got the big play on in the last drive, but handed it to Green this time, and it was shut down. Derek Lutjen leading the way, 3rd down.
Yeah, the exact same formation that Ronnie Moore had that big chunk yardage play earlier. Now they come back and give it to Travis Green. It's been able to get that running game going. A very different running game. A lot of pin and pull type schemes, a lot of misdirection. Requires great discipline on the defensive side of the ball.
Falcons 2 of 8 on 3rd down. On 3rd and 5, here comes pressure. It leaks. Johnson uses his feet. Steps out of the tackle at time, but the rest of the white shirts rally. Boy, got a pretty good spot there. They'll give him 4 yards, but he is short. 4th down and 1.
And there's the pressure that Brent Guy wants to bring. They bring a cross dog blitz right up the middle, trying to get the legs of Matt Johnson. He's shown the ability to be able to avoid the rush, keep his eyes downfield. That time, create some plus yardage, but again, force the punt. Tulsa's defense holds.
Go, bomb it.
Ryan Schmidtabush punts it away to Connor Floyd, who signals for a fair catch and makes it at the 35 on a punt of 42. Well, only 2 races left until the chase for the cup. Jimmy Johnson looks to maintain his lead in the field as the competition heats up at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, Sunday at 7 on ESPN and on Watch ESPN. Well, Cody Green, the leader of this offense, 2nd season as the starter. An avid fisherman, this guy. And actually, when he's finished with his playing career, would like to be a fishing guide. Maybe try his hand as a professional angler.
The Pro Bass Tour, I'm right there with him. I want to know where he's fishing at.
Empties out the backfield on 1st down. And throws a corner out for Garrett, incomplete. We asked head coach Bill Blankenship if he's ever gone out with him, and he said no, he's asked me, but he's just too serious. He said I'd have to buy all this expensive gear to be able to go out with him, and I'm not doing that.
Probably doesn't want to give up his secret spots either.
Yeah, right.
He's not going to take him to the honey hole now.
At least not on the first
spot.
trip.
Yeah, exactly. See if he deserves it.
Right, got to earn your right. Empty again on 2nd and 10. They bring Douglas back. And Douglas hit in the backfield, but good strength to get a few. 3rd down and 6 coming for Tulsa. And Bowling Green has had them behind schedule all evening.
Yeah, they have, and it has to do with that defensive front, those linebackers, their ability to attack the line of scrimmage. That's their moniker. They attack people. They're going to force you to do something, and you know, they have the experience in all 3 levels to get something like that done, especially at the linebacker and safety positions.
Bowling Green showing pressure out of the secondary. On 3rd and 6 for the Golden Hurricane. They bring 5 with a flag down. Got rid of it to James, who didn't turn quick enough. Had he gotten the head around, could have been a big play.
Well, 3rd down is when they like to use their exotic pressures, and there's an example of it right there.
Illegal procedure. Offense. 5 players in the backfield. The penalty is declined. Resolve the play. 4th down.
So Bill Blankenship's team continues to struggle to get anything going on the offensive side of the ball. Punt team back onto the field for Tulsa.
These exotic pressures, only 2 defensive linemen right here. The rest are linebackers. Watch number 11 come through. They're going to cross dog all through there, create all sorts of traffic. And there comes number 11, Gabe Martin, free to the quarterback.
Dalton Parks, the punter, actually punted the last time as well. It's a punt of 41 yards, and Ryan Burbrink from the 21. A return of 6. And Bowling Green back on offense when we come back with a 13-0 lead in this season opener in Northern Ohio.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install. Tire Rack.
Bowling Green, Ohio. Nice little college town, a little more than 20 minutes south of Toledo here in northern Ohio, where Bowling Green has a 13-0 lead midway through this third quarter. The defense has been as advertised for the Falcons, and the offense much better over the last few series. Matt Johnson in the game at quarterback. As they try to run a counter play out the back door with Fred Coppett, his first touch as a Falcon. The true freshman out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so Matt Schiltz was the starting quarterback, as we've detailed a couple of times, but got off to a rough start, just 1 for 4. Johnson replaces him. These guys battled during camp, even though Schiltz technically now has started in parts of 4 seasons. Third leading passer in program history. Johnson's talent forced the staff to give him a shot. And underneath, Tyler Beck left wide open. That close to a first down to the 38.
Yeah, you're right. And talking about that, and it really came down to pocket presence and being able to manage the pocket, use the pocket, and feel comfortable back there. And I think that's what Matt Johnson has really shown here this evening, his ability to improvise with his feet, stay calm under pressure, and deliver the ball accurately, somewhat accurately.
Got 13 yards there to move the chains. 38-yard line. It's Coppett again. One of the more highly touted recruits they've ever had here. He's a 4-star recruit on ESPN's Recruiting Nation, out of a powerhouse in St. Thomas Aquinas in Florida. More than 3,300 yards, 58 touchdowns during his storied prep career.
That's some big-time production right there. And that's what happens when you start winning. And people come here, they see the town, they see the university, the facilities, the weight room, and athletic center is as nice as there is in the MAC.
Coppett stays in there for 2nd and 9. And left tackle Jacob Bennett got moving before the snap.
Offense number 67. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
And that'll happen sometimes, as Matt Johnson was going up, changing play at the line of scrimmage. The redshirt freshman just couldn't hold his water there. Jumped the gun a little bit.
Returning starters at both guard spots and at center for Bowling Green, but both tackles playing their first collegiate games. Third penalty on Bowling Green this evening, relatively low for a season opener. As Johnson drops back into the gun for 2nd and 14. Pressure from the wide side. Zips one over the middle for Ryan Burbrink. And a gain of about 11 to the 45, or it'll be 3rd down and 3.
And that's the pocket presence that we were talking about. Again, you're going to see him in the pocket, stay calm, and then watch the zip he puts on this ball between the linebackers in front of the safety. And again, that presence of mind to go through his progression, not panic, and then watch him. When he commits to that ball, it had some zip on it. Right in the hole.
Big 3rd down and 3 here for Bowling Green. All 11 men within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage for Tulsa. They still run the ball, and Coppett squeaks free. Up to the 45. He got 10 and moved the chains on 3rd and short. Mitchell Osborne from his outside linebacker spot to make the tackle. Not a big guy, 5'10", 175, but shows good strength.
Yeah, the freshman out of Florida again. There was not much of a hole there. He saw the crack, hit it, got skinny through it, and exploded on the other side. Big 3rd down conversion. That's showing a lot of trust in the freshman.
They got to like what they have here at running back with Travis Green, the converted receiver. And Dave Clawson said maybe his biggest question was, who would the leading rusher be at the end of the season? On the zone read, Johnson with a late decision to pull, then planted, got a yard. John Jackson, a former quarterback himself in high school, believe it or not, made the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
Johnson coming up limping just a little bit, took a shot in that quad, I think. And boy, that was a late decision, boy. I don't know. You can't ride that running back any longer right there. It's a credit to Tulsa's defense of staying parallel, reading the mesh point, making that as unclear for the quarterback as possible.
Travis Green is back in on 2nd and 9. Double linebacker blitz. And Johnson forced to throw it off his back foot. With the pressure coming from Hayden Carmen, a freshman out of Little Rock, Arkansas, Catholic High School. 3rd down.
Yeah, they bring 2 blitzers inside. It frees up the defensive lineman. His offensive line trying to recognize their responsibilities. Forces Matt Johnson off his back leg, incomplete. Now they get him in 3rd and long. This is a chance they get to go after him a little bit. At least create the illusion of pressure if they can. Try to come up with a stop on 3rd down.
Converted to 3rd and 5 with a run earlier in this drive. On 3rd down and 9, pressure from Tulsa, picked up. Johnson with time, but the throw's wide, and no flag. Dobbins with the coverage on Joplin. 4th down coming up.
And Dwight Dobbins doing a great job in coverage right there. Physical through the player to the football. Looks like he got his hand on the ball. Might have got away with one there. But this is a guy that's played in some games for him. Has played well in practice. First year as a starter. They love his ability. The question is, could he be an every down player? Showed right there he can.
He's the only guy in this secondary, at least as corners go, with any kind of experience. Lefty Schmidbush with a punt. It'll bounce inside the 10. That's a good one. Pinning Tulsa back at the 7. Opening weekend of college football, so good that it's here. What are you watching on Saturday, DDI?
You got to watch Alabama, the 2-time defending national champs. McCarron going deep down the field, but I think the real question for Alabama is that offensive line. Replacing 3 starters. I think that's a chance Vautech has. If Bud Foster, defensive coordinator, can attack them, can create some confusion, they might have a chance. And then LSU, TCU. Watch out for TCU. They've been recruiting for speed in the Big 12. They're good defensively. LSU, new offensive coordinator Cam Cameron. We'll see how that works out.
Toss play on 1st down to Jatarian Douglas. Short gain, 2nd down and 9. What's Tulsa got to do to get something going offensively?
I think they're only down 13 points, so you're not forced to throw the football. They've got some veterans up front of their offensive line. They've got to find a way to get something going in the run game to open up part of that play action game for their quarterback.
You can see there just 43 yards of offense in this 3rd quarter, which is winding to a close. Green throws low for Garrett, who gets it to the 14. And sets up a 3rd down and manageable 3 where you've got options.
And that time they show, 2 back, 2 tight end set. And again, they play action a little bit, show some run action, create some space on the edges for the big wide receivers. And that time an accurate throw by Cody Green.
We're in a big 3rd down here. The clock winds inside of a minute in this 3rd quarter. Green looking wide side, dropping off the draw to Trey Watts, who is close, but it looks like he's short. Paul Swan, 3-year starter at middle linebacker, made the tackle. And it is 4th down and less than a yard. And Bill Blankenship will send the punt team out. Too early to gamble.
Yeah, way too early. In the field position, it says you've got to punt the football. It's still early enough. You got to remember who you are offensively, even though you're struggling. But a great job by Mike Elko, defensive coordinator for Bowling Green right there. Didn't bring pressure on 3rd down. Trusts his defensive lineman, and they stopped the draw play.
It's a fake. Run into the near side and shut down. Up from the secondary was Truss. As Colway tried to run it outside. And Truss, a 3-year starter, cut him down well short. There is a flag down back near the line of scrimmage.
There's no substitute for experience in the game of football. Cameron Truss, the fifth-year senior, seen a lot of football.
And so it's an illegal motion. That penalty declined with 4 seconds. So maybe it wasn't too early for a gamble.
Wow.
As they certainly did.
Well, I thought the gamble would be going for it, but the fake punt, boy, that's a gutsy call. I like it. It's great if it works. Not so good if it doesn't work. And now short field with a quarterback that's feeling some rhythm in Matt Johnson.
Likely be the final play of this third quarter. Green motions back. Johnson keeps it off of the read play. Spins into contact. Trent Martin had him spin right between the 4 and the 0 on his chest and dropped him for a gain of 3. End of the third quarter in Bowling Green, Ohio. Falcons scored at the opening possession of the quarter and lead by 2 scores as we march to the 4th on the opening night of the college football season. Get out the checkbook, Dad. 13-0 Bowling Green as we start the fourth quarter in the season opener. Northern part of Ohio, about a half an hour south of Toledo.
Sounds like a fair deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Just making an effort.
Yeah.
Sending a message.
Well, here you go. A couple of field goals in the first half for Bowling Green. The touchdown came in the first possession of the second half, and it's all been led by Matt Johnson, who came off of the bench in place of Matt Schiltz. A couple of possessions for him, didn't get it done. And for Tulsa, it's been a game of missed opportunities. They've missed a pair of field goals, fumbled in the red zone, and more recently had a fake punt gone awry. Bowling Green trying to take advantage. First play of this fourth quarter, play action. Johnson throwing underneath, has Bayer, or Beck is tight end, who gets inside the 5. That's Tyler Beck, a senior out of Pennsylvania, same state as Matt Johnson, setting up first and goal.
I love the play action throw, flooding in the flat, and Beck knew exactly what to do when he got the ball. Put the brakes on, got some tough yards. That's what a tight end's supposed to do right there.
That was one thing that this offensive staff with Warren Ruggiero really liked about his group, and deep at that tight end spot. Big back William Houston back into the game. 262 pounds coming downhill. Houston stretching for the goal line. And they'll spot him short, second and goal.
Boy, I like his body language with the football. Look at Chris Pullman right there, lead fullback. Houston just fighting, leaning forward behind his pads. I think there's more where that came from.
Bowling Green cashing in each time it's entered the red zone. Tulsa now, there's your difference. Second down and goal. Houston again. The big man's in again. Second touchdown of the game for William Houston.
He adds a nice dimension to this offense, complements Travis Green well. Look at the blocking at the point of attack, and look at the body language when he enters a hole. He's behind his pads, lowers his level. That's a physical run.
Was an Ohio State Buckeye for a short period of time as a preferred walk-on, transferred here to Bowling Green, and right now got to be feeling pretty good about that decision. 2 touchdowns in his first collegiate game. And Bowling Green has a 3-score lead. Coming off its best season since 2007. One of the favorites to win the MAC with 17 starters back and pieces added like the freshman Houston. Matt Johnson off of the bench tonight at quarterback, and has Bowling Green in front 20-0. A redshirt sophomore from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, has to feel pretty good about the start to this season for him and this team. Well, celebrated its 9th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets. Allstate makes contributions to participate in the university's general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $3 million in scholarship monies. William Houston, a pair of touchdowns in the second half. And Bowling Green, with one of the nation's top defenses, has a 20-point cushion. Trey Watts catches on the run. And Watts sets up pretty good field position for Tulsa. It's an offense for the Golden Hurricane that is going to be the strength at some point this year for this squad. You know, one of the top ground games in the country last year. Returned just about every piece skill-wise. Returned a couple of offensive linemen. But they've missed a pair of field goals. They've fumbled in the red zone. And on the last drive, had a failed fake punt. What's got to change in this fourth quarter for them to have a chance?
Well, one of the things Bill Blankenship talked about to us was they can't beat themselves. You know, unforced errors. And I think they've done just that. I think they're a little bit shocked at their inability to move the football. I'm not seeing quite the team speed that I thought I was going to see. And I think it's more of a credit, too, to Bowling Green's defense, as good as advertised.
Boo-Boo Gates up from the secondary to shut Trey Watts down on that swing pass. First team All-MAC a season ago, and a guy that a lot of people think will contend for MAC Defensive Player of the Year. Second down, 11. On the slant, thrown low, but picked up by James, who fights his way for a first down to the 44. Jordan James, most physical to these wide receivers. 6'2" senior, moving the chains.
Well, it looks like Tulsa right now is trying to get in some sort of tempo offensively. Different speeds they have, but I think maybe hurrying things up, speeding things up might be to their advantage.
Green has all kinds of time and went for James, but too tall. Flag comes in late, and Aaron Foster going to get called for pass interference on what looked like it might have been an uncatchable ball.
Uncatchable ball, maybe incidental contact as well. That ball was a good 4 feet over the outstretched hands of the receiver, it looked like.
Pass interference, defense number 23. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
See, that ball was way high, and Dave Clausen's going out to the officials going, hey, that was over his head. That looks uncatchable to me.
Their feet just got tangled up.
Yeah.
So moves it to the 41. Here's Watts, who's thrown down. Brian Thomas, strongest player on this Bowling Green defense, and that's saying something. Throws him for a loss of 3, 2nd and 13.
Yeah, the converted outside linebacker turned defensive end where he's more fitted to play. See him close the line of scrimmage, take on the fullback with his inside shoulder, freeze him up inside to stay on the angle, make the tackle for a loss.
Back under center now. A deep drop from Green. Pressure leaks. Green throws into coverage, and too tall for James, defended by Foster. Third down.
Mike Elko, defensive coordinator for Bowling Green, has done a nice job of mixing up pressure and coverage. That time he plays coverage, drops deep, covers like a blanket down the field. Nowhere to go with the football for Cody Green. There's Coach. Great guy to talk with. Boy, he's got that little look in his eye like most defensive coordinators do.
3rd and 13, probably 4-down territory. Screen is read beautifully by Kendall Montgomery. Gabe Martin there to help, and it's 4th down. They lost a yard, going to Douglas to the short side. Boy, it's Montgomery, a converted tight end, that sniffed it out.
Great instincts by Kendall Montgomery, again, to read and feel that no one was blocking him, know that a swing pass was coming, change direction to make the play. That's an athlete.
And on 4th down and 14, no choice but to go for it. 4-man rush. Collapsing the pocket. down the sideline, and it bounces in there to Garrett. A turnover on downs, and this Bowling Green defense, which returns 9 starters from a season ago, looks just as good, if not improved from last year, pitching a shutout in the season opener.
Matt Schick back in the studio with this update, this weather update. Weather still an issue there in South Carolina. We're hearing that the game could resume at 10:15 Eastern time, and if it does, it will be on ESPN News. Meanwhile, coming up here on ESPNU, Derek Carr and Fresno State, last year's Mountain West Conference Offensive Player of the Year. It's Fresno State Rutgers here on the U after this one, Joe.
All right, Matt. Fresno State was 6-0 last year at Bulldog Stadium. They'll try to get off on the right foot against Rutgers. Dave Fleming, Mike Bellotti at the call to that one. Well, Bowling Green in a spot where it can run some clock now, leading 20-0. They start off on the ground with Fred Coppett. The true freshman struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage. Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week continues on Saturday. 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. 5th-ranked Georgia taking on 8th-ranked Clemson. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows. Also live on Watch ESPN. Got Aaron Murray going to the Death Valley there. His 41st career start. Making that short trip into what is going to be a tough atmosphere. But if there's any quarterback that you want to take your team in there, you got to figure he's one of them.
Some say hostile territory. And Georgia's got to show they can play well early.
Here's Green. Nice burst. First down. Now, Bowling Green's got some here with Travis Green.
Yeah, I really like what they found with their offensive backfield. You got Travis Green, gives you the speed in the backfield. William Houston. I mean, they've got some cats. And I really like what they do offensively. They play to their strengths. Deceptive. They give you some different looks.
Moving up front brings flags. And talking with Oren Ruggiero, their offensive coordinator, about Travis Green and him moving over from receiver.
Offense number 55. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
We asked him, had somebody told you in the spring when you made the move, when you decided to move Green to receiver, that he would be the starter week 1, you would have said what? And he said no.
They're really doing it for depth.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they didn't expect to get this much out of him. The guy just took the job and ran with it.
Ruggiero said, shows you how smart we are, though.
Smart enough to put him in there week 1, huh?
Here he is again. Short gain, 2nd down.
And with the addition of Matt Johnson at quarterback, and it looks like his ability to create plays and also throw the ball accurately from the pocket, I think it's really going to help them because their run game, look, they leaned on it last year. You know, and so it's one of the things I think they feel confident ability to do. I think they package their plays in a way where the same formations are on different things. They look the same, but they're hitting different points of the defense. They pull their offensive linemen. I think they're tough and gritty inside, and the young guys on the edge kind of stepped up here tonight.
They fake to Moore, give it to Green. Flag comes in from the back judge as Green gets 4. Usually means holding. And it does. Well, Dave Clausen, you've said it a couple of times, is one.
Number 52 offense, the penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Everywhere that he's gone. He was a 1-year stint as an offensive coordinator at Tennessee before he came here to Bowling Green prior to the 2009 season. But before that, rebuilt programs at Richmond and Fordham, twice winning the 1AA National Coach of the Year. Been a college coach for a quarter century now. Goes back to 1989 when he was an assistant at Albany. They took this program, it was 2-10 a couple of years ago, improved them to 5 wins 2 years ago, 8 wins last year.
Yeah, and they've increased their win total by 3 games each year. And they knew they were rebuilding in 2010. They did it. Now you see the depth in their program, the number of sophomores and juniors that are in their classes. It's good to see what they've done. And the great thing about this staff's been together a long time. So continuity is a key too. And I think there are a bunch of teachers that get the most out of their players.
You know, only team in the MAC that's had the same head coach, OC, DC for each of the last 5 years. This is what they've got coming up. A game at Indiana September 14th. You can find on ESPNU. A game at Mississippi State on October 12th. That'll be interesting, going down there to Starkville. Of course, the big rivalry against Toledo. That'll be October 26th. The Battle of I-75. Just about a 25-minute drive between the two schools. Watts fumbles the ball. And a scramble for it inside the 10. Yet another mistake for Tulsa, and that could just about do it. A night to forget for the Golden Hurricane to begin 2013. It's Boo Boo Gates that fell on it.
Well, Coach Blankenship talked about self-inflicted wounds. They had to avoid them. And there it is right there by one of their trusty veterans, Trey Watts. Ball security. Look at the coverage. The orange jersey's down there. And Boo Boo Gates fighting for the football, recovering it for Bowling Green.
They've got Houston in there. Nice cutback. Searching for his 3rd touchdown of the day. They'll spot him inside the 1. 2nd down and goal. So really right now using 3 pieces at running back. Travis Green, clearly their starting running back, but then they've got Coppett they've used, and Houston, the big guy.
And you see Houston, you see Wide down near the goal line. It's nothing but straight ahead running. Double teams at the point of attack. Lowering his pads, fighting for yardage. I like the attitude in which he carries the football.
Right back to him. And he is in. Touchdown, William Houston. 3rd of the day, and Bowling Green rolling in this season opener.
Tip your hat to the guys up front. You can tell them getting fired up. They know what's coming. They know they've got a big back behind them. I tell you what, they are blocking people on angles, feet pounding and moving the line of scrimmage. They know it doesn't take much to get that big body of Houston going forward for positive yardage.
Tyler Tate's extra point is there. And Bowling Green all over Tulsa. It's Houston again, his third touchdown of the day. This offensive line paving the way for what will likely be win number 1 for Bowling Green.